Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're gonna do things a little different. NicPro, they contacted me a few weeks ago and asked me if I would be interested in trying their resin and doing a review on it. So I said, well, thank you very much. Yes, I would. So they very graciously sent me their 72-ounce resin kit. Now, I've purchased other resin kits in the past and never have I gotten this much stuff in one resin kit. All right, so let's start off first with the very detailed instructions on how to use their resin. They also sent a very nice big spatula to mix your resin with, pipettes, there's just another insert. They also sent these two nice scraping tools. You get disposable gloves, you get a tablecloth, you get another stirring stick, a bunch of 8-ounce plastic cups, apron, 16 bags of mica powder, 3 bags of foil flakes, and then your 32 ounces of resin and your 32 ounces of hardener. And by 32 ounces, I clearly mean 36 ounces of each. They also got this cute little spoon for your micas. Now the colors. We've got copper, we've got tweezers, we've got silver gray, we have purple, grass green, yellow, black, light blue. Then you got your copper, silver, and gold foil flakes. And then violet, gold, deep wine red, wine red, white, turquoise green, cobalt blue, orange, red, and I'm really excited about this red. I hope it's actually red, and pink. Now you may have seen the discount code that flashed up on the screen. I will have it listed in the description box below. They have said that they will offer a 10% discount off of this specific kit, the 72-ounce kit that I just unboxed. You'll get everything in there that you see me unbox. With the discount code, you get the 10% off, and that is valid now through the end of the year. So now through December 31st. Again, it will be listed along with the link to where you can purchase it at and use the discount code. Okay, so let's go on and see how this resin works. Now, typically, I don't mix my resin on camera. You guys know this. But for today, because we are testing this product, I am going to mix it in front of you. First impressions, it's a lot thinner than my normal resin that I use, which is great because I've been looking for a thinner resin. It's not like super watery thin, just slightly above. As I'm mixing it, I am stirring slow. I know you guys are used to me. When I do show it, I stir crazy fast. I am doing it the way that you're supposed to, because otherwise it wouldn't be fair for the resin for me to do it improperly. So I am stirring slow. I do have it sped up, just so that you don't have to sit here and watch me, mix the resin forever. As I'm mixing, I mean, you can see there's like no bubbles in this resin at all. Like, I'm impressed so far. So I just hope that when I pour it and as it cures, it's bubble free as well. As I continue to mix this, I just want to tell you a little bit about the resin. It is BPA free. It says low odor. I smelt it just to see if there was anything that I could smell. I couldn't smell anything. You get a 30 to 45 minute work time. The cure time is 24 hours depending on temp and volume mix. Demold time is 8 hours depending on temp and volume. The hardness is a 90 HV plus. It is 1-to-1 by volume, not weight. And as you can see, just for testing purposes, what I did was I just poured a couple clear pieces that were small, and I'm just going around the edge with my silicone tool. I would do that normally. It's not anything that's affecting the resin. I'm not hitting it with heat. I'm not hitting it with alcohol. I'm just going to let it cure. That's it. Done. I want to see how this resin performs without any extra measures to get rid of those pesky bubbles. Now, for this first piece that I'm going to do, I am going to use some of their black mica powder in there because I'd like to see how it turns out. And I'm going to fill up just along, like, this mold is very, very 3D and detailed. And I just want to fill up. Sorry, I'm trying to fool with my light so that you can see what I'm doing. Um, I just want to fill up so that the mouth and the eyes aren't, like, I don't want them covered. I want to be able to do some glow in the dark stuff later on with that. So basically just the front facial features of this skull. Okay, back to the resin. So their optimum environment temperatures between 75 and 85 degrees. In about 2 to 3 hours, it'll be at the stage where you could do a second pour on it if you want to, which is actually what I will be doing in these pieces. Also would like to mention that I did speak to them because I couldn't find anywhere online that you can pour up to 1 centimeter deep with this particular resin. Now, what I'm doing is, like I said, I want to keep the eyeballs. My original plan was the nose too, but it just didn't happen. And the mouth to where it's not covered in the black. I just want to have like the teeth and around the mouth and around the facial features done in black because I want this to be glow in the dark too. I want those eyeballs in that mouth to, like, I want it to be really cool. That's the plan. So that's what I'm going to do, is just pour. Now, this video is going to be a little bit longer than normal because of the review, because of the it's going to be like a 2-in-1 video. Not only am I doing the clear pieces that you saw me pour and this skull, I am also going to do a coaster set because I really want to test this resin. I want to see how it's going to perform in different molds, done in different ways. You know, all of the things that I love to do, because I don't think that you can accurately say whether or not something is good just by doing it one time, if that makes sense. Like, I can have a piece that turns out completely like crap, but if I just try it once, it doesn't mean it's a fault of the product. It could be something I did to mess it up, which is, again, in part why when I mix the resin together, I'm doing them in separate cups. So, like this, the skull is one mixed set of resin. I will be mixing a whole nother batch of resin for the coasters. You know, we're human. We all screw up from time to time. So I want to give it a fair shot and be like, okay, well, did every piece turn out great, or did they all turn out like crap, or what? Like, I want it to be a true and accurate review of what I really think about this resin, not just based off of one piece. Because I don't, it, like I said, it's not fair to them. It's not fair to you guys to say, oh, well, she did one piece and it turned out great, so I'm going to go buy this and, you know, whatever. And then it's just not. Or, hey, she did one piece and it turned out like crap, let's never use that resin, and it was something that I did wrong. You know, that's not what I want. I want it to be actually true review. Okay, so now we're doing the coasters. I'm mixing up the second batch of resin. Again, not moving this fast. Doing it the way that you're supposed to. Scraping the sides, scraping the bottom. I'll scrape off the stick. You know, mixing it slowly like you're supposed to for a good couple of minutes. Again, bubbles are very, very minimal, if any at all. Like, I usually get a bunch of bubbles. Now, granted, a lot of them are because I mix fast with my other resin. I know this. However, usually when it cures, I don't have an issue with it. But even when I mix it slow, there's still bubbles incorporated in that other resin. This, there is not. So for these, instead of using the mica powders, because I want just a regular black, I don't want the shine, I'm just using my black epoxy resin pigment. And I'm going to pour just a half coat, like for the actual base holder of the the coaster holder, I just want around, I don't want it on the top. I just want it around the edges. So I am squishing it in there because I have a tendency, for whatever reason, to get bubbles that stick on the edge of the coaster, like the rim of the coaster holder. They always stick in that corner for me for some reason, even when I squeeze it out. So I am going along there and doing that just to kind of loosen any bubbles that may be in there. Pouring it up to that top line, not going over into the bottom. As for the coasters, again, I am only pouring about halfway with these because I have a top clear layer that I'm going to do after I put them in. Now, I am hitting this with alcohol for these pieces. Okay, now the clear results. Let's see how they came out. So everything, this I did leave 24 hours to cure. It was the next day by the time I was able to get back to it. But let's look at these pieces and see how they came out. Abso-freaking-lutely clear. There is not one bubble, not one, in these two clear pieces whatsoever. Not one bubble. I was really, really, really impressed. Not one micro bubble. Like, I could not see any bubbles. It was like looking through glass on these. So right now, I'm super impressed with this. So after I'm done, all right, let's set that off to the side and let's continue on with this. So for these, I want them to be glow in the dark as well. And I'm just going to put different pictures on each one. So I'm just taking the stencils and a Sharpie marker and I'm just kind of outlining which picture I want on each coaster. And then when I'm done doing that, what I'm going to do is I will be taking my gloss varnish and the glow-in-the-dark powders and glitters, mixing them together like you've seen me do on other videos, and just kind of painting in the pictures with that. I will let those cure for a while, for a couple of hours, before I pour that clear coat on top, because I want to make sure there's no moisture whatsoever in there. As I finish this up, you guys don't need to hear me talking through it. You've seen me do it before. I will catch you guys on the flip side when I am ready to do the next step. All right, and we're back. So now it's time for the glow part of this skull. What I'm gonna do is, I seen Louise Singleton do this on one of her videos recently. If you've never used glow-in-the-dark powders before, they are very, very heavy, very chunky, chalky kind of powders, and they don't dissolve easily in resin. So what I seen her do was she took some alcohol and actually sprayed it into her glow powders. It may not have been powder. It was something. I feel like it was glow powders. I could be wrong. But either way, she did it and it kind of dissolved the powders up a little bit and made it easier to mix into the resin. So for this, I'm going to try that and see how it works. If you've never used them before, they tend to sink. So what I would recommend highly is, if you've mixed up your resin with your glow powders in it, and you set it off to the side, give it a good mix between like pores and whatever, because it sinks to the bottom of the cup or whatever you have it in if you don't. So just a side note, do that. I am pouring the clear coat on these coasters as well. I did end up running out of my green glow in the dark, so I had to mix a little bit of orange in there. I wasn't sure how that was going to turn out, but it actually, in the finished piece, it looks really, really cool. So it's, it turned out okay in the end, so it's all good. I am going around with my silicone tool around where the glitter and the glow powder is on these to make sure that no bubbles are stuck in there. Just that's it. And then I will spray it all with alcohol and let these cure up. Now, the coaster holder and the skull both need another coat of black on top of them. So this is the part where I'm only going to wait a couple of hours. The first set, it was completely cured up before I added on the glow powders. I am going to do it here in about 3-4 hours from the time that I pour this. I will come back and do the next set just to see how it is. And here we are a couple of hours later. It is very, very, like, in that very jelly consistency at this point, just like they said in their instructions that it would be. So that's good. And I am at the point where I can definitely pour my last and final coat. And, last means final, in case you were wondering. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm just mixing up the HTV Ront epoxy resin pigment in this right now, and then this is going to go on the top of the coaster holder. I added a little bit of purple in there. I don't know why that wasn't on video. It should have been, but now that I see it, I realize that it was not. Go around the edges real quick. Got to be careful because I'm not trying to dig into that gel-like consistency of the layer that is down below it. And give it a quick spray. Done with that. Now on to the last little bit for this skull. I'm mixing in the mica powder again. I did have a little bit of the black pigment paste one left that I'm going to add to it. It's not going to make a huge difference. It'll be fine. I just didn't want to waste the resin. So I add that little bit into it, and then we top it off, give it a quick spray of isopropyl alcohol, and let it cure. Now, I do let it cure because at this point it's later on the day, so it's the next day before I get to it. So I, didn't get to see if it'd be like the full 8 hours. And because of how I'm doing the layers, it would have been like 8 hours from this point for it to cure. So, I didn't get to check that part out to see if it was actually demoldable in 8 hours. I would assume by the way that the layer underneath of it is that yes, it most definitely will be. And I will follow up with that in a future video here coming up soon. Just to let you guys know. So quick spray, then we're done. Let it to cure. All right, the reveal. Let's see how these bad boys turned out. So the first one we are going to demold is this skull. I shouldn't have necessarily sprayed it with alcohol because then the tension on the surface tension of it and ended up going all kinds of lopsided and over poured, and I had to cut that off before I could even demold it. It was ridiculous. Look at that. That thing is so wicked looking. It is awesome. I am super, super stoked about this. I mean, it turned out fantastic. Like, I can't even explain to you how awesome this thing is. Like, it's just so, 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 so cool. A little bit that I'm cutting off that just from that overpour that I was telling you guys about. But look at this guy. There is not one bubble. There's not one. There's no holes in it from bubbles that, got caught anywhere. I mean, it is fantastic. Oh, I love it. I'm sorry. I do. I think it's super cool. There's so much that you could do to finish this piece off. Like, so many cool things. Okay, coasters. Here we go. Look at this. Perfectly clear. Not one bubble. Not one bubble on the bottom. You know how sometimes you get those stupid little bubbles that stick in the corners or anywhere? There is not one bubble in this thing. Not one. I have not had a resin where every single piece that I've pulled out did not have one bubble in it. Like, it's amazing. Just absolutely gorgeous. Like, look at that. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Like, I'm super, super impressed. Again, here we go. A little bit of overpour, but other than that, and I'll just trim that off real quick. It does, usually I could do that with like a deburring tool, but it does get harder quicker than my other resin does, but then my other resin is a slower cure one, so it makes sense. But look at that. Just look how clear those are. They are absolutely perfect. So, 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 so impressed. Like, seriously, seriously impressed. All right, so now's the moment of truth, though. Let's see how this piece turned out. Remember I was telling you how I always tend to get bubbles like right where that opening is in this piece. Like every time I get bubbles here. Let's see. Come on, come on, come on. Get that thing unmolded. There you go. Look at it. Look at that. Again, not one bubble. Not one. Not one where I always get them trapped at. Not one. It is perfect. Perfect. Like, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And they sit in here the way they're supposed to. They're completely level like they should be. I mean, it's gorgeous. All right, guys. Now, my thoughts about NicPro as we finish up with these glamour shots. NicPro, you guys rock. Your resin is awesome. You have a customer for life. Thank you so, so, so much for letting me try your resin. Guys, the discount code for the NicPro box that I got is in the description box below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give them a try. You won't regret it. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Love you. Bye.